Hello. Maybe, just maybe, from time to time, we realize that we can be a bit defensive when we're leading a group or a meeting. Maybe our human resources committee even tells us that. Maybe. And maybe, just maybe, we need to learn to say yes and. And maybe, just maybe, we are thrilled at the General Commission on the Status and Role of Women. Thrilled beyond words to share with you, our neighbors right here in Chicago, the Second City, members of the famed Second City Improv Theater, who are joining us at this time to lead the first of two sessions and to teach us how to lean into conversations. Friends, it's showtime. Break a leg.
I keep joking, the phrase of 2020 will certainly be, "You're muted," right? Because I did just start to speak, but was completely muted. Good morning, everybody, or afternoon. We are the Second City. Thank you so much for that amazing introduction. My name is Leslie, and with me, of course, is...
Hi, I'm Ayumi.
And when I say with, obviously we're with all of you in this virtual room, but we feel like it's a virtual space that we're all together in. So, I mean, very quickly, we're going to be using the chat a lot today. So maybe just pop into the chat. Have you heard of Second City? Raise a virtual hand or put a little like happy face in there or something. Anybody heard of us before? She said it. We're your neighbors. Yes, of course. If you're from Chicago, you must know about Second City. And we also have a theater in Toronto. Oh, all these happy faces is amazing. Amazing. Great. We also have a theater in Toronto, and we have one in Los Angeles as well. As was mentioned in that amazing, wonderful intro, yes, we're very much about saying yes, and that's what we're going to be doing with you today. We are a sketch comedy theater and an improv comedy theater, and what's particularly unique about us is the way we use yes, because we use improvisation to create our sketch comedy, to create our content, and we work in a very collaborative way. But that all would not happen if we didn't start by saying yes and when we're creating collaboratively together. So that's what we're going to be talking about and demonstrating for you so much today. But first, I think we want you to get to know us a little bit. Ayumi, don't you think?
That's right. So we're going to do a fun little exercise for you to have you guys get to know who we are a little bit. And we're starting our first exercise with something called Two Truths and a Lie. And for this exercise, Leslie and I are each going to tell you three things. Two of them are going to be true things about us, and one of them is going to be a lie. And this is going to be just another opportunity for us to practice chatting in the chat box for you guys to weigh in on what our lie might be. So I'm going to start as an example of three things about me. Two of them are going to be true, and one is going to be a lie. And it's up to you to decide which one is the lie. So the first thing about me is I won a car on The Price is Right. The second thing about me is that I was a junior national tennis champ. And the third thing about me is that I have swum with sharks. So go ahead in the chat and type in what you think might be the lie. So the first thing I said is that I won a car on The Price is Right. Is that true? The second thing is that I was a national junior tennis champ. Is that true? And the third thing is that I have swum with sharks. Okay, so in this chat, wow, okay, sharks is untrue, national, wow, okay.
It's really split at this point.
I wish I was a speed reader. This is amazing. Okay, so it looks like we're all quite divided on what could, what could be the thing that is a lie. Well, I'll tell you this. I did win a car on The Price is Right.
Okay.
And the thing about sharks is almost a half lie because I have swum with sharks on multiple occasions. So that is also true. But it is true I'm not a national tennis champion, but I am a pretty excellent pickleball player now. So that's me.
Amazing. Oh my gosh. Wow. I do feel like it was almost a three-way split. Although there were chunks, people would kind of vote together. There was lots of sharks together, then there was lots of tennis, but congratulations to anybody who guessed tennis champ because you get the prize.
Okay, and it looks like somebody thinks I look familiar, maybe from watching me on The Price is Right. So that's kind of cool.
Amazing. All right. I guessed sharks, so I was wrong. I thought maybe that was the lie. Okay. All right. Here's 3 things about me. I once broke my thumb tobogganing on a cookie sheet. I actually was once in a car accident, survived, of course, because I'm here, but the car did flip upside down. So yes. And I do have a pet snake. So what is the lie? Oh, already, all right, we've got.
Can we repeat them one more time?
Absolutely, of course. I see a lot of people are, this is fun. So I once broke my thumb tobogganing on a cookie sheet. I once flipped a car over, oops, and I do have a pet snake.
Okay, it looks like there's.
You know, when you first all started guessing, I saw lots of snake. No one's buying that. But now people are starting to question the car accident quite a bit. Yes, as you should. It's a ludicrous story.
I would love to imagine this car accident, toboggan, snake thing all being one event.
Well, I'm really enjoying. Thank you to the panelists who said I can see her tobogganing on a cookie sheet. Well, whoever said that, you're correct. I did toboggan on a cookie sheet. I did break my thumb doing that activity, yes. And believe it or not, I was actually in a car accident where the car did flip over into a ditch. Oh. And I will tell you, thank goodness for seatbelts, because me and my friend were absolutely fine. But you're right, I don't have a pet snake. I'm terrified of snakes, is the truth. Oh, snakes are fun pets. You should get one. Julie. No, Julie, no. Oh, I would never sleep again. I would never sleep again. Oh my goodness. Thank you all for playing that with us. That was very fun.
Yes.
And a reminder, hey, play it with your friends. Maybe you guys can play it now on your next break. It would be fantastic. So we want to do one more sort of warm-up kind of activity. And this is sort of kind of for Ayumi and I, because we're going to be demonstrating a lot of these exercises for you today. And when working in some of these exercises, sometimes you just have to pull on some confidence. We also need confidence when we're having everyday conversations with people or when we're speaking to a group. So these are things that we're sort of going to be talking about and working on in the next couple of sessions. So to start us off, though, we are going to be doing a little something called, oh, no, I'm sorry, we're getting there. I'm going to do something else with you in the chat. That's right, I jumped ahead. But see how confident I was that I was in the wrong place?
You embraced it.
Thank you. So we're going to get you even more into the chat. So this is a game or sort of an activity for all of us now. All right. So get your fingers ready. So basically, we want you to just start warming up that brain. So we're going to play something called 5 things. So I'm going to give you a category, and then you're very going to quickly jump into the chat, just a list of 5 things within that category. So I might say 5 colors, and then you're going to quickly type 5 colors in.
Blue, orange, yellow, green, except you're going to be doing it on the keyboard.
Oh my God, somebody already did it. Red, brown, blue, orange, green. Beautiful. Thank you. And it's that easy. And what we really want you to do is not edit yourself, not judge yourself, not even just type away. Anything you say is right. Okay, so this is definitely a confidence game in that way. All right, so I will start us off. So here we go. Everybody ready? Give me 5 breakfast foods. I love it. They're coming in. They're coming in. Oh, whoa. Sausage, eggs, Cheerios, toast, bagel, cereal, nuts, muffin toast, cereal, toast, eggs. Amazing. This is great. And I love how they're just flying in all 5 in a line. Somebody has pizza for breakfast. Kix, a very specific cereal. We love it.
I agree with the
fantastic. All right. That was pretty.
I'm hungry.
Absolutely. Now that one was pretty easy, right? Most of us eat breakfast every day, or we should. So let's get something a little crazier. How about give me 5 types of fish? Don't think about it. If you say slime fish, we'll believe it's real. 5 types of fish.
I think all fish have a slime coating. It's part of being a fish.
Ooh, I like this. Salmon, tuna, a shark, shark, absolutely. Mm-hmm.
Flounder,
salmon, tilapia, trout, salmon, turkey.
Swordfish. Guppy. Aw, guppies. I love guppies.
So cute. I forgot about pet fish. I was only thinking of ocean fish.
I saw shork, and I think shork might be a typo, but I also hope it's a type of fish.
Yeah. This is amazing. Well done. All right. This is going very well. It feels like you're just flying. So let's get a little more creative then. How about What are 5 bad gifts? 5 gifts you do not want to receive. What are 5 bad gifts? Just go. Don't think about it too much. Let's see. Okay. Oh, fruitcake. Thank you for just getting it right out of the way. Fruitcake. Socks, undies, nothing, scarf, beer. That person was great.
Snake, a nice callback. Treadmill.
Somebody really doesn't want a mug. Tacky sweater, rotten food. This is great.
I like the treadmill. Who wants a treadmill for their...
I mean, it's an expensive gift, but take
It
up
is.
so much space.
Unless it's one that they've wheeled in from the curb.
Yeah.
Someone else didn't want.
Exactly. Oh, this is amazing, everyone. Thank you. And I hope it's getting you thinking about maybe making some Christmas lists and what you might want to keep off of that list. You know what I mean?
That's right. Making some adjustments.
Amazing. Ayumi, what do you think? Should we give them one more?
Okay, yeah. Well, those are bad gifts. I'm really curious what these good gifts. What's the best kind of gift you could receive and hope for?
This is fun. What do you want? Oh, perfume right out of the gate.
Puppy. Oh, so some of the worst gifts are also some of the best gifts. Isn't that interesting? One person's gift is one person's...
Another person's trash, right?
Here we go. Gift cards. New car. Yeah. Money. Sanity.
I like the person who specifically wants peonies. I agree with you. Gorgeous flower.
And I was all excited about sanity.
Right. Coffee. One person just said it twice. Please give me coffee.
Oh,
Amazing.
people really want a puppy. Puppies are good.
Puppies are good. And I'm seeing a lot of cash. I'm seeing a lot of gift cards, vacations. Well, I'm so glad everybody knows what they want. That's amazing. Great. Well, thank you all for warming that up. And again, for just going for it, for getting the thoughts in here just out without judging yourselves, without editing. This has been fantastic. That is great. All right. I will pass it back over to Ayumi.
Okay, great. And now for this one, we're going to show you an example of embracing an idea and going with it, saying yes and in a very fun way. This exercise is called World's Worst. And so what we're going to do is we're going to come to you in the chat to give us examples of a type of occupation. So just in the chat, if we could get an occupation. Okay, CPA is the first one I saw. So a chartered professional accountant. And so what we would do is each of us in character would give us a line of dialogue from the world's worst CPA. And that might sound something like,
oh yeah, you can write off your underwear for sure. Yep. Or maybe it would be,
yeah, I love numbers. I just have trouble with the ordering of them sometimes.
Mm-hmm. It might also be, I don't really love tax season. Call me in June.
Or, there was a problem with your bills. There was I'm sorry, we just got some of the numbers wrong in totaling the amounts, but we'll amend that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes. You know what's amazing is that I'm also seeing a lot coming into the chat that you are already all playing with us. This is amazing. So I'm going to read a couple. I'm sorry, that number is a negative and not a positive.
The tax code is more like guidelines anyway.
I have the IRS on a speed dial. You want me to give them a call right now? We'll video chat with them.
I don't do taxes.
I promise. I really did pay your tax bill before my vacation to Hawaii, for sure. Don't worry about it. I did it, for sure.
I look like the accountant you spoke to earlier, but I assure you that's not me.
What's so tough about math? It's just subtraction and addition and addiction and subtraction and submission, right? That's math, right?
Yeah, that's it. Great. Okay, good. Let's move on to another one. Those were really, really fun. Let's see here. Lawyer came up. What would the world's worst lawyer sound like, Leslie?
Oh, yes. Your Honor, my client is guilty. Oops. I have to go. Or maybe they would sound like,
okay, that'll be $50.
Absolutely. Before I go to the chat, I'm sure I can come up with another one because I'm showing confidence. So I'm going to say, do you really have to pass the bar to do this?
Speaking of bars, I love getting drunk.
I have to go to the chat because I am seeing some amazing ones. Yeah. Look, I haven't won a case yet, but it'll happen someday.
I only broke a minor law.
Okay, I guess I'm not exactly a licensed lawyer, but I did have a role on Law and Order.
Trust me, you don't need to talk to anyone else.
Oh gosh, sorry, I forgot your court date.
I win most of my cases. Well, a few, okay, none.
I don't, no, Your Honor, I don't have any witnesses to call. Can we have a recess now?
Today feels like a good day to win my first case.
Amazing, amazing. Those lawyer ones were fantastic. You're all, everybody out there typing these in, you're amazing. You're already saying yes and coming up with confident, fun ideas right away, which is fantastic.
Excellent. All right, so let's move on to, now that we're all warmed up, we're going to move into collaboration and communication, building on those ideas that we've just explored.
Yes, absolutely. It's so true, because communication, collaborative communication, and listening is really the foundation of communicating, both in small groups, one-to-one, or in a group setting as well. So as we were saying earlier at Second City, our core philosophy is saying yes. It is saying yes and what that really means at the end of the day is saying, yes, I have heard what you have said, and now I'm going to add my piece onto that. And my piece might be a new idea. It could be an opinion. It could be a thought, but it's really about hearing the person first, acknowledging that you've heard them, and then adding on your next piece, right? And that's the way that we can build together, both as we do at Second City, we use it to create comedy, but in life, you can use it to create good collaborative conversations. If you've ever been in a brainstorming session, you've probably already used yes and before. You know, when they say we're brainstorming, no wrong ideas, everybody get, everything is a yes right away. That's the kind of feeling that saying yes gives us. So what we want to do is Ayumi and I want to demonstrate to you first sort of how saying yes and feels and how it works. So in order to do that, we're going to start actually by saying no. So we're just going to do this activity right now. So Ayumi, let's say that we are, we run a business and we're trying to decide what snacks to put in the break room, okay? And you're gonna pitch me the ideas, and I'm just gonna keep saying no to you, and let's see what happens, how this conversation goes, okay?
Yeah, I think that we should order Ringolos from Canada. They've got that really crunchy bite, and I think that would just be what people need to get excited about getting back to work.
No, we can't really have crunchy snacks because of all the noise.
Okay, we could then maybe try something like a Twizzler or a red vine, because
no, so many people are cutting back sugar, so that's not going to work.
I have seen that there are sugar-free versions of red vines.
Ooh, no, the chemicals in that are brutal. I can't responsibly let people eat that.
Okay, well, then I guess, maybe we could slice up some oranges and have those ready for people.
No, this isn't a soccer practice. Okay, great. We can stop. We can end Ayumi's pain there. So very just quickly in the chat, what did that feel like even just watching it? I don't know if anybody wants to jump in there and say, how did it feel just watching that exchange? I'm going to come
Rejection. Painful.
Painful. Mm-hmm. Creativity was faulted. Deflating. Yes.
Church meeting.
Oh my goodness. Familiar. I see some familiars. Okay, great. Well, let's work through this. Yeah, frustrating. It's annoying, right? It was like my office. Exactly. It's so frustrating to not even be able to get to the end of your idea, because I don't know if you could even see, before Ayumi was even finished speaking, you could already tell I was shaking my head. I was ready to say no, right? I was just being like, no, this isn't going to work. So no room for discussion, no room for saying like, here's the ideas and let's explore them together. It sounded like, yeah, but thank you for that note, because, well, Ayumi, how does it feel being on the no side?
Oh, well, I have to agree with everyone there. And I think it was Laurel that said she felt sorry for Ayumi. And thank you for feeling that way because yeah, it was frustrating and it made me start to feel like I wanted to shut down. I didn't feel heard. Well, I felt heard and then shut down,
Down, right? Yes.
which is even worse.
Exactly. Okay, well, let's try this then. Somebody said it. There was kind of a yeah, but. So let's, oh, discouraging, absolutely. So let's try this one again. So let's change up the situation. Let's say that this time we are, we're trying to figure out a gift to buy for, let's say for the boss. I love that we're in the same workplace somehow. So we're going to get a great gift. It's going to be a group gift. But this time, all of Ayumi's ideas, I'm going to say yes, but, and let's see what happens there. So go ahead.
So I just came from this great brainstorming session and I know that a really great gift is a puppy.
Yes, but I'm just worried that a puppy is so hard to take care of. They need so much training.
Okay, so if a puppy requires training, a cat is a very independent animal. I understand they could be great pets.
Yes, for sure. Oh, but the litter is so messy and so stinky. Yeah.
Okay, all right, hear me out. A snake.
Mm-hmm.
A snake is another pet that I hear is an excellent pet because they don't shed.
Yes. But I'm worried. There's so many places that snakes, aren't legal, depending on the snake, and I don't know.
Okay, how about we just get him and her because our bosses are both male.
Sure.
One of each.
Yeah.
Why don't we get them both gift cards?
Yes. Oh, but isn't that impersonal? And once again, we'll end Ayumi's pain. Right, great. Thank you. You're already getting there. Patronizing. Excellent. I think that's a really, and please keep putting in the chat how that felt to watch and to see. The patronizing is a great point though, because, when we say yes to people, but then immediately tear down their idea. So it's like we've said yes, but then the immediate no. A but is just another no, right? Because it comes right afterwards. Why bother contributing is another thing that I see there. And it is patronizing, right? Because it says, yes, I hear your idea, but I've already decided that it's a bad idea, right? Still frustrating, thank you. Ayumi, what do you think? How did that feel on the other side?
It felt encouraging and then swatted down. I felt like, and because then as soon as that butt came, it felt like the door was slammed in my face.
Matronizing in this instance.
Very matronizing.
Great. But it takes away everything we just said. Absolutely. So it's kind of like, people will do this to make it seem like, or maybe they're trying to make people feel like, oh yeah, I've got your idea, but no, right? Whereas, well, let's just go right into it. Let's see what happens if we just say yes. All right. So this time, let's say we are planning, it's the same workplace with the male and the female boss, and we are planning the picnic, the annual corporate picnic. All right, off you go.
I'm really excited about the picnic. I think we should have it at the pickleball courts.
Yes, and we could bring like coolers with cold drinks.
Yes, and we could have them shaped in the shape of paddles and balls.
Oh, yes. And maybe we should get some of those cupcakes. Like we go to a cupcake place and get like little paddles put on top. So it'd be all like thematic.
Yes. And one of our big prizes could actually be a paddle with a cupcake logo on it with our company to tie it back into the picnic.
Oh, yes. And we could also have a bit of a tournament. People could sign up and like we could get people exercising and working out.
Yes. And I could lead a little clinic beforehand so people could get an idea of how pickleball is played.
Oh, yes. So it could be almost like a whole day event. Sign up in the morning, maybe for the clinic, play the games. And then afterwards we could even have, we could have like a little bit of a park, mojitos. Yes.
And the mojitos could also be done in a big giant glasses that could be taken home with our company logo on them so that people could remember this amazing day.
Yes, everybody gets a takeaway. That's amazing. Okay, we'll end there. Great. Thank you so much, because I can see a lot of things flying through the chat. So let's just see what you all thought of even just watching that. Acknowledging, great, very productive, synergistic. There was something even up there about full of energy and possibilities, right? And I think that is part of saying yes and, is that everything is possible. Now, in reality, we may have got to that event, and maybe not all those things would have come to fruition, but all the ideas were there, and it was energizing. We both, I mean, I'll speak for myself, and then I'll let, I wanted to be part of that conversation, and we could have gone forever. Somebody just said that about mutual building and wanting to be part of the conversation, and it just makes you feel, exactly, thank you for who said that it makes you feel value, and like your contribution is really heard, right? And builds excitement around possibilities rather than shutting things down. I don't know how you felt.
I felt like it made me feel like I wanted to contribute. You know, in the first two, especially the first one, every contribution and every no made me shut down even more, to the point where I didn't want to contribute. Where this one, no idea was a bad idea, even the bad idea. So I see that there's a great question. What if it's actually not a good idea? That is a great question. There will be many times where we're presented with terrible ideas, but from those terrible ideas spark really great ones if we're able to embrace the idea of saying yes in collaboration. We don't have to literally say yes to an idea. It's especially, let's jump off this cliff. Yes, let's. I think it's more important to embrace the idea. What are we trying to get to? What is this idea of jumping off the cliff? Why are we exploring this idea? Because perhaps it's not that we want to jump off the cliff. Perhaps it's, let's try something exciting and adventurous. But if we shut down that idea immediately with a, no, you're crazy, then we don't really get to understand what is at the root of this idea. And I think some of the best inventions, innovations, stories come from that idea of saying what if and yes, instead of that what if is being met with a no.
Somebody just put it in, this is great, because Kristen, thank you. She said, yes, and let's go grab parachutes, right? So, because I was going to say the same thing, that if it's like, yes, let's go jump off the cliff, of course, that's dangerous. We're not going to do that. But I would approach it exactly how Ayumi just suggested, where it's like, yes, and what about jumping off the cliff is exciting to you, right? Then you can find out, oh, well, I was just wanted to do something, like she said, different. I want to, whatever. Great. Yes. Then let's, yes. And let's look into parachutes. Let's look into zip lining. So it's really another great example. I remember we did a workshop for a bank at one point. So I'll just share this example very quickly. And it was very specific. We did all this, and then someone came up afterwards and said, well, I'm a loan officer and I can't just say yes to everybody's loans. That's just not realistic. And we talked for a little bit. And then I said, what if somebody comes to you and says, I want this loan, and you look at it and no, and then no, there's no way I can say yes today, but what you can say is yes. And let's make a plan to see how we can make you eligible for this loan. Let's make a financial plan, right? Because that really says that in that instance, you're really hearing the person, you're really hearing what they need. And you're saying, yes, I hear you. And let's figure this out. Let's find out the possibilities that can get you to the place that you need to be. And I think that's a very powerful, literal, example of course, there are times in our lives where we can't always say, if you offered me a snake right now, I would really want to say no, but I guess I'd have to find a way to go yes, and you'll put it in a locked cage. It'll be over there. I spiraled a bit because I can't stop thinking about snakes.
Well, I noticed there's a question from Rebecca about what
Right.
about no but instead of no as a way to disagree but encourage. So I'm going to say yes to your question. And by saying yes to your question, I'm not shutting you down. If I say, no, that's a stupid suggestion, what happens to Rebecca? Immediately, I'm sure your walls go up, well, I don't want to put any suggestions in the chat anymore. I feel very discouraged. And instead, this is a great question. This is a question we get a lot.
Yeah.
Yes. And it's one that we should consider. And so if we say no to someone right away, the one of the pitfalls could be that the person will shut down and not want to contribute anymore. And I think for any kind of collaboration, it's important for people to feel safe and to feel valued. And even if it's a crazy idea, if we can embrace the idea of yes, even if our brains and our hearts are saying no, if we open them up a bit with this idea of yes, we can think no in our heads, but saying yes outwardly really allows people to feel safe to collaborate. And I think that's the place where we want to get to.
I think so too. And I think that what has worked for me as well is changing that yes to just saying that yes literally is just acknowledging that I've heard you, right? No makes the person feel like they haven't been heard. So even in a disagreeing, absolutely. Oh, I don't. Oh, Tracy's getting there. I'll even take it one step further, Tracy. Yes, and here's what I think, right? So I even try to cut out the I don't agree sometimes with people. So if somebody says something and I don't agree, I go, yes, okay, I hear you, and this is what I think, right? Because even by saying what I think, it's clear that we don't agree. And for me, I feel like that makes a lot of conversations, especially difficult ones that I have, go further, because then we don't get stuck in a I don't agree, no, I don't agree, no, I don't agree, back and forth. So experiment with it, try some of these techniques, see if they work. Even if you try one, even if you try the saying yes and you still want to say very clearly you don't agree, go for it. That's your prerogative. But even try it. Yes, and here's what I think is a very useful change I found. These are great. Thank you so much for all these questions. We want to show you a little more how saying yes and can also, you've already seen how energizing it is, but we want to get a little more specific there.
So we're going to do a story for you now. And we're going to tell a story using the idea of yes and. So we're going to build with every time we start the next line of the sentence, the story, we're going to start with yes and. So in order to get the story going, if we can get some suggestions of a story that's never been told before in the chat.
Exciting.
Is my chat broken?
No, is everyone thinking? They're thinking, oh no, what's the title of a story?
Oh, Goldilocks
there we
and
go.
the 5 Gorillas.
Oh, what was it again? Oh, it was the first one. Absolutely.
Why is her purple? Perspective of Jack-o'-lantern. Okay, Leslie, I'm going to let you pick one of these awesome titles.
Oh, well, you know where my heart is. It has to be The Elf Who Saved Halloween. Because it's two of my favorite holidays.
So we present to you The Elf Who Saved Halloween. Thank you, Julie, for this great suggestion.
Mm-hmm. There once was a young elf named Gerald.
Yes, and Gerald's favorite time of year was Halloween.
Yes, and every October 30th, Gerald would gather all of his costume pieces together to get ready for the big night.
Yes, and this year was going to be better than all the rest, because this year, Gerald was turning 30 on Halloween.
Yes, and he was combining finally his love of Halloween with the biggest birthday party that his small town had ever seen.
Yes, and his mayor decided he would do something very special for Gerald.
Yes, and that special thing was a key to the city and a fireworks party to go with it.
Yes, and Gerald was over the moon excited about getting the key to the city and these fireworks that were going to go off on his birthday.
Yes.
Halloween.
Yes, and the night came, and Gerald was dressed in his finest mummy costume that he had been working on for months, and he showed up early at the park and was ready to receive his key.
Yes, and as the mayor handed Gerald the key and the fireworks, one of the fireworks started to go off a little.
Yes, and Gerald got very concerned. He got a little afraid, so he let the firework go up into the air.
Yes, and as that firework came down, one of the embers caught on Gerald's toilet paper mummy costume.
Yes, and Gerald thought, no, my mummy costume. So he started rolling around on the ground to stop the sparks.
Yes, and in rolling around to stop the sparks, he inadvertently saved the life of his best friend.
Yes, and his best friend, Maurice, was so grateful that she asked him out on a date.
Yes, and Gerald said yes.
Yes, and that made for the greatest day after Halloween that Gerald and Maurice had ever had.
The end.
The end. Thank you so much. we hope you enjoyed the story of the elf who loved Halloween as much as we did. And we hope that you could see that Ayumi and I actually could have even just taken those two yes and words out, and we would have had that successful back and forth collaboration to create a story that, honestly, if each of us sat down to write that story, I'm willing to bet that neither one of us would have, first of all, maybe it would have been harder to come up with all of that on our own. But certainly we wouldn't have gone in all the exciting directions, I don't think, that we went when you have that energy and that giving of back and forth.
Yes.
Yes. Right.
Yes. And with
Yes.
that in mind, we are going to move on to our next exercise, which is going to focus us on listening to the end. So what's going to happen is I'm going to say a sentence. Leslie is going to listen to the end of my sentence and start the next line of her, the first line of her sentence is going to start with the last word of mine.
Yes.
So it might sound something like, today is a beautiful day.
Day is my favorite time of day. I love the sun.
Sun provides vitamin D, which is an elixir.
Elixirs are one of the most underrated tools in my health wellness toolkit.
Toolkits are something you should have for every kind of emergency.
Emergency supplies are very important, and you should always keep them in your home.
Home and garden is one of my guilty pleasures.
Oh, garden? I think that we should carry this conversation on in the garden. Oh, and then we're back to garden. Oh, great. I think that was good. Go ahead.
Okay, yeah, so that basically is an example of listening to the end. We're going to turn it up a notch just for fun before we tie back into what this relates to. And we're going to do something called last word headline. So along the same idea of what we just did, but this time we're going to try to do headlines, sort of like thousands of termites descend on greater Los Angeles.
Los Angeles buried in avalanche of rain.
Rain forecasted for the next 12 months.
Months and months of insects are coming.
Coming to you, groceries, thanks to the pandemic.
Pandemic, now the best-selling board game on Amazon.com.
.coms are taking a big hit in the recent news of internet's crashing.
Crashing into your homes this fall. It's an all-new game show, Eating Pie.
Pies, are they good for you or are they going to kill you?
You need to learn about your finances.
Finances, are they good or are they evil?
Evil is all around. Buy a Bible today.
Today only 99 cents rutabagas.
Basic. We will stop at rutabagas, which was great. So why are we doing all of this, you may be asking, besides the fact that it's fun and I'm having a great time, and we hope you are in the audience there as well. But we're demonstrating how listening to the very end of what someone else has to say is so important. If you remember way back to the when I was always saying no to Ayumi at the top of the day, I was already shaking that head, right? And thinking, no, I know what I'm going to say next. And I think we do, I'm definitely still guilty of this in everyday life, for sure, having a conversation, and all we're thinking about is how we're going to respond. When we do things like this, when we do exercises like this, it forces us to really wait until she is done speaking. I can plan as much as I want what the next headline is going to be, but if it doesn't work with the word rutabaga, it's useless to me. So I need to wait and have that moment and really listen. and Ayumi, I don't know how you feel doing this exercise, but I know for me, I can almost feel myself, you might've seen me doing this physically, like leaning forward to really listen to her. And that is that part of active listening that, you know, there's many different schools on active listening and how to do it, you know, sort of in the best way. For me, it is really waiting until that person is done speaking, taking that moment to go, yes, okay, I heard that. And now here is my next thing.
That's great. The other half of this listening coin is the person who is giving that information. It feels great to be able to get my information out without being interrupted, without feeling like, I understand, you know, a lot of people get really excited and want to show, oh, I'm listening, and I'm going to show you how I'm listening by cutting you off and joining in on what you're saying, because we feel like, oh, this is going to show that I know what you're talking about. But it implies that you know something more. I felt so empowered by having the space to get my full idea out without being cut off. And so by her reinforcing that she listened all the way to the end by using the last word that I said, made me feel really listened to. And I feel like that's another great way to build a very collaborative community of discussion.
Absolutely. Yes, I agree. Affirming. Thank you. Yes, Gina says it's affirming. It is, for sure. Because again, I know there's lots of schools on active listening that say exactly what Ayumi was talking about, where it's like, you should be commenting, you should be saying and yes and all of that. But you want to make sure that you're truly listening and not just constantly inserting. It's a great point. Yeah. We want to do something a little bit fun for you so that maybe you get using this concept. So we're going to perform another scene for you just to sort of demonstrate again how we use some of these things. And this is called an alphabet scene, so ABC. So what's going to happen is Ayumi and I will be performing a scene back and forth. The last, we're going to go through the alphabet. So we'll find a letter to start with in a moment, but the next line of our scene will start with the next letter of the alphabet. So if I say, don't eat that turkey, she'll say, eat the turkey, but it's hard because we need to know our alphabet. So we're about to find out if we do indeed know our alphabet. And also we're gonna have to really listen so that we know what's next. So in the chat, let's just get a couple of suggestions. Could a letter of the alphabet that we'll start with? Oh, K, I saw K right away. That's great, thank you so much. But also, now let's get a location for this scene to take place. Where is a place that, that perhaps that you can't wait to go to when it opens up again? There's so many things. Oh, Paris, a coffee shop, Hawaii. Oh my God, all of these are great, all these are great. You know what?
We need to copy this chat.
I know, this chat is amazing.
It's a great bucket list.
It's such a good bucket list. You know what? I love I mean, I saw Disneyland. Thank you so much for that. But I always make Ayumi do so many scenes with me at Disneyland. So this time we'll take, why don't we take bowling alley? I really liked that because I would love to go bowling right now as well. That would be very fun. So starting with the letter K, and we're going to take you to this scene in a bowling alley. All right. Kate, I'm so psyched to be bowling with you tonight.
Linda, I heard you've been practicing a little bit on your own.
Oh, Marty called me out, didn't he? He told you.
No, it was Marty's girlfriend.
Oh, I didn't realize that she was so interested in, you know, what I'm doing.
Patty is pretty involved in your day-to-day, more than she probably should be.
Quite weird, I feel, no?
Really weird, yes.
So maybe I should have a discussion with Patty about being nosy.
That's a good idea. And glad you feel that way because she's coming tonight.
Unbelievable. I was just here to bowl and now I have to talk to Patty?
Vera is also coming with her.
X-rays. That's what we should have done. Stay with me. We should have X-rayed our thoughts and then I would have known that you were planning this terrible thing.
You would have said no.
Zounds, you're right.
And then we would have had to come up with a different idea.
Best that we do it now here in this bowling alley, I suppose.
Can we just start bowling then?
Didn't want to take the words out of your mouth, but yes.
Enough talking, just bowl.
Fine. I'm bowling.
Gutter ball.
How did you know I was gonna gutter that?
I could see based on where you were standing.
Just one more thing that you're better at than me. And we're back to K. We did it. Amazing. We went, yes, thank you. Oh, thank you. Very kind from Kimberly. LOL. Impressive. Well, listen, the most impressive part, thank you so much, is knowing, did we skip W? Oh, we did it. We missed, it was me. Did I go to X? Oh, I'm so sorry.
It's that X just gets too exciting.
I was ready. Oh gosh. Well, thank you. Oh, Bethany says you. I mean, listen, Zounds, you're right. These are all great. Thank you so much. What I love from this chat is that it shows how well you were all listening to us. So I appreciate that very much. But again, that's just a fun activity that truly does practice that skill of listening to the end. And although, we are sort of thinking, what's the next letter? I really have to listen to what she's saying, because I need to start with the next letter, but I also need to respond to what she has said. So it's a really great activity to sort of work that listening all the way through and carrying on right to the end, and saying yes, accepting what it was, and then giving your next idea. Absolutely. Another activity that we like to do that really works this skill of listening, so we just want to show you one more thing right now, one more demo, is if you could only speak one word at a time, what would that feel like? And how activated do you have to be with the person that you're speaking to go back and forth like that? So we're going to try that for you now. So again, going into the chat, could I get that was a place that was closed. How about an occasion that you're excited about celebrating, even if it's going to be a Zoom party? What's an occasion? A wedding? Oh, are people going to weddings, getting married? This is exciting. You're going to celebrate a cruise.
I've seen weddings, funerals, all that. All of those have happened on a cruise. Yep.
I worked on yes, absolutely on a cruise back soon. Amazing. You know what? Class reunion sounds like a lot of fun. So we're going to tell a story about a class reunion, but could I also get into the chat an adjective that's a describing word, like the fabulous class reunion or the scary class reunion? Boring. Glittering crazy. Oh, these are so good. Dreadful, dreaded. I'm getting a sense of how our participants feel about class reunions right now. This is amazing. Let's go with, I love them all so much. Let's go with the dreadful. This is the story of the dreadful high school reunion. And Ayumi and I are going to tell this story one word at a time. All right? Okay, the dreadful high school reunion. All right. Alice
was
looking
forward
to
her
reunion.
She
wanted
to
buy
a
new
dress.
So
she
went
to
the
dress
shop
and
purchased
the
most
exquisite
blue
dress.
She
was
ecstatic.
She
went
to
the
hair
salon
and
got
her
hair
dyed
purple.
She
looked
amazing.
The
next
day,
Alice
got
spray
tan.
So
she
would
look
even
better
when
she
got
to
the
reunion.
She
tripped
over
a
snake
Ah! Ah! She
screamed
loudly.
and
People
came
running
to
her
and
helped
her,
up
but
the
spray tan
bled
all
over
people's,
outfits.
they
Were
horrified,
devastated,
disgusted.
crying,
Alice,
decided
she
should
just
leave.
so
She,
did.
the end. I think that's the end. Poor Alice. Listen, I think that's why, thank you. I think that's why, yes, anybody in the audience who is not looking forward to the reunions, we're with you. We know they often end in tripping over a snake and having your spray tan spill and bleed and all over everybody's outfits. So it's maybe not worth it. But thank you all. How did that feel watching it? Can I get a little feel? Oh, that silly snake. I know once I mentioned it, we'll never. Listen, maybe tomorrow we'll talk about a different animal. How did that feel watching it? Just for any of, there were a few things, anticipatory, great, edge of my seat, strained. Yeah, there was a little bit of strain for sure. Enjoyable story, unpredictable, great. Awkwardness abounds. Yes, it sure did, but we pushed through it. Good, anticipating. Great. So as much as, so what I'm seeing is that as much as there might have been some anticipation and excitement, that also brought a little bit of anxiety, which is not uncommon when we're really trying to work with somebody, listen and add our ideas. And I think some of that anxiety comes from that. I'll speak for myself. We're used to our ideas sort of not always being accepted and being shut down early. So that for me can bring anxiety sometimes when working in groups or in collaborative situations. So I feel like to counter that, the more that we can say yes and just be, like we said, being open to those ideas, even if it's not the final idea we're going to rest on, or we're literally going to do all of the things. If we're saying yes, that we're listening to people, that can help people to be more comfortable to go off of the next thing, I think. I mean, I don't know if you saw anything else in the chat that was interesting. It's all interesting to me.
Yes.
Go. Yeah.
The example of letting go of control in the conversation, I think this is one of the biggest infringements, I think, on creativity, is that when we want to control too much, we're missing out on great opportunities. And I think that as a lot, I think, I don't know if this is a gender-based thing of feeling the need to have control because it is such an unpredictable world. Having that kind of control gives us safety and things like that. But in terms of collaboration and trying to be in a creative space, letting go of control really allows space for new ideas to come in. And when we do that, it can be very empowering. As contradictory as it may sound, it really allows you to own these new ideas that would have otherwise not been possible.
Absolutely. It can go a whole different way. Thank you. That definitely happens to us when we are improvising. We all come in, listen, we're all performers. Well, sort of, we are at Second City. We all come in with great ideas, and it can be very difficult to have to let it go and say, you know what, this is going in a new direction, but acknowledging that maybe the new idea is just as good or could even potentially be better. I will speak for myself. I am for sure have a hard time. Ayumi's worked with me. She knows I can be I want to do this. So it is something that I work on a lot, which is giving that space for somebody else to contribute, to give their ideas, and to, while they are doing that, to really listen to them and stop just thinking about my own idea or my own direction that I want something to go in. So it is something that, it's something that needs to be practiced a lot. I'll say that. So if you're feeling like already that feels like difficult, again, these are small activities that you can do that sort of help you to experience what it feels like to wait, to really listen. But it's something that I practice a lot. Yeah, practice. Thank you, Julie. It's true.
Great. Excellent. I think for our next exercise, we're going to bring in our colleague, Winter Davis, if we can have her come in. There she is. Hi, everyone. This is Winter.
Hi, everyone. I love when I get to be in the thing. I put on makeup.
Oh, you look amazing.
Thank you. I put my screen blue blocking glasses up so it's not, in the way of our next exercise.
I have mine there.
Also, my bedroom door doesn't shut. Therefore, my beloved cat, Tom Ketty, is currently playing in and around. You may see him. That is
Aw.
improvising.
It is. I already had let my cat out once. People probably saw this happen, and that was just
That's
the joys of working from home.
My 3 dogs are on the other side of this door, so hopefully they will all be quiet till we get to the end. So for this last exercise, we're going to do something called Dr. Know-It-All. So this is very exciting. We have a renowned expert here, and in the chat, if we can get an expert in a field of what is something that you'd love as a subject that you'd like to learn about. Fountain pens. I kind of love that. It's so specific. This is an expert on fountain pens. And what's going to happen is Leslie and Winter are going to talk as one person. They're going to be a world-renowned expert on fountain pens. And so in the chat, you guys can ask questions about what you might want to know about fountain pens. I will be the host in introducing them, and we'll go back and forth. So let's just start with, first of all, I'm really excited to have you here today. Can you please, we'll start with Leslie and Dave, and then Winter, and we'll go back and forth. Tell us who you are.
My
favorite
name
is
McGillicuddy.
McGillicuddy. Okay, thank you. Well, that's very interesting. I guess as a fountain pen specialist, you go by many names. What's your second favorite name you go by, McGillicuddy?
I
love
Dr.
Fancy
Pants.
Dr. Fancy Pants. Who wouldn't? That's interesting that McGillicuddy trumps Dr. Fancy Pants. But everyone's got a personal preference. So I'll go by McGillicuddy. It looks like we have some great questions here. What is the best way to hold a fountain pen?
The
best
way
to
hold
a
fountain
pen
is
to
grasp
all
the
pen
in
your
fist.
Oh, okay, great. So there's a very strong way of holding that fountain pen. I understand you're also quite a historian. Someone would love to know, and I'm curious as well, about why they're called fountain pens.
Fountain
pens
are
called
fountain
pens
because
they
are
old
and
moist
wet
fountain
spraying
ink.
Interesting. So they started as very wet fountain spraying ink. This seems like really tricky, especially if you've got that fountain pen grip on them and you've got spraying ink. How then are you able to create these beautiful works of calligraphy using a spraying fountainy pen like that? How are you able to manage something like this?
Often
I
start
thinking
about
paper.
I
don't
love
bad
paper.
I
love
crisp
solid
blank
white
paper
that
is
expensive.
Okay, so price matters is what you're saying. Great. And I mean, if you're spending a lot of money on these pens, obviously you're going to want to maintain them well. People are curious, how do you clean the nibs? How do you keep them in ready spraying form?
Lysol,
soap,
sponges,
and
scrubbing
with
toothpaste,
and
Water.
As
Often
as
possible.
Wow. Okay. So if I remember, Lysol, sponges, water, spraying, soap as often as possible. Is there a certain order or a certain technique you use with all of these? I mean, I've got all of these things remarkably in my house. I'm just not sure in what order and what amounts I need to be doing to get that, because that nib is pretty small and you're doing quite a few things with quite a few things to this one small thing.
Start
with
Lysol,
and
then
mix
soap,
into
the
point
of
the
pen,
then
scrub
inside
with
more
sponges.
Mm. Okay.
and
Oh, there's more. Yes, of course there's more. I'm
And-
sorry to cut you off.
Toothpaste.
inside.
Oh, okay, okay. Now I know there are some people who are interested in using what they have at home and having a very natural approach to using their fountain pens. So what items in their garden, thank you, Gretchen, it's a great question, will make the best ink? And how would you then prepare that said item to be ready to be used in your fountain pen?
Geraniums,
Leaves,
carrots,
stalks,
tomatoes,
vines,
soil,
with
water,
and
honey,
with
grass.
Okay. And do you process it in a certain way, or it's just all of these things? Because again, I have a fountain pen. It's probably not a very good one. I didn't spend very much money on it, but it's a very small, I mean, I have one that you dip into a little, I'm sure there's a name for that little well. I guess it's a well, an ink well, to get all of those things put into that little container. What, is there a certain process?
Mixing
quickly
with
oil,
and
starch,
will
help
make
the
ink
better
and
last.
longer.
Okay, great. I was inspired by this one question about how dangerous are the sharp tips. And I have to tell you why that question resounds with me, because I did hear that story about that person who was impaled. That one famous story. Can you tell us about that? I understand that you had a firsthand eyewitness to this story.
Veronica
Hated,
pens.
Mm-hmm.
so
She
grabbed
uh,
flag,
and
took
the
pen,
and
stabbed
the
flag.
but
Then
she
murdered
her
favorite
squash.
Oh, it's interesting. So in the retelling of that story, things got turned around. So she didn't actually get impaled. It was her favorite squash had been impaled by the pen. I could see, okay, that makes sense. We're running out of time. So I know that people are very interested in hearing more. I understand you have a very, very excellent website, which is where I found you. Can you tell us what the web address is so that people can check out more information from your site?
W dot
squash
pens
tip
dot,
backslash,
backslash,
squiggly,
hyphen,
K,
dot,
wonder pen,
slash, forward,
plus sign,
ampersand,
end bracket,
equals,
dot.
org.
I am so sorry, McGillicuddy. I was just responding to a text. Can you remind? I'm sorry, I didn't get a chance to get that down. Can you tell us that website one more time?
W,
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 dot,
squash,
Uh,
pens,
perfect,
forward slash,
squiggly,
backslash,
tip,
ampersand,
plus sign,
equals,
dot.
org.
Fantastic. I know that the audience is going to be very grateful for this information that they can go back to. Thank you so much for your time today. And that is Dr. Know-It-All. Thank you so much, Winter, for joining us for that last exercise. I hope that was fun for you guys. Oh, someone is heading to that website now. We better
Well,
make
better
sure it's online.
make sure it's up to date. We want to update it with all this new information we just learned about making that ink. Oh goodness, thank you for your that's very kind, your LOLs and your happy faces. We want to know, yes, that you are having fun. Because a lot of these, again, these are exercises that you truly can practice. You don't have to have an audience of 257 people if you don't want, but they are exercises that you can really practice, which is that listening to people to the end, using the last word of their sentence to inspire the next thing that comes from you, even in conversation. That's a useful tool to keep, let the person know that they're really heard and that you're building something together. So this is almost our time for the day. We just have about 4 minutes to wrap up. So again, we just wanted to, thank you for your time. Oh goodness, people are already saying thank you. We just wanted to review that we started with saying yes, right? And that concept of saying yes and if it's useful, as it is for me, to think of yes and as, yes, I heard you, and here's my contribution. And remember that contribution can be, yes, I heard you, and here's my idea. Here's what I think. Maybe what you think is a disagreement, and that's okay, but you're saying yes, and here's my thought. And it can also be yes, and here's another solution or another option. So again, in problem solving, it'd be yes, I hear that solution, and here's another possible solution. So there's lots of ways that we can use that yes, but using it as really, I have heard you. Going on from there, we showed you how we could, there are some fun activities in there. We hope they were as entertaining as they were showing you how it feels to really do yes and how that can accelerate and create energy and can create synergy and moving forward and working on things collaboratively. Then we moved on to all that great listening, which, listen, I am strained from listening because we had a lot of great, Ayumi and I were challenged in having to really listen to create some of those and demonstrate some of those exercises, but they were so great and reinforced that listening to the end, not pre-planning your response and really showing the person that you've heard them and that you're ready to continue a conversation with them. Ayumi, any other wrap-up thoughts from you?
Yeah, I see there, Mary says everyone has a contribution, and something that I think is so important to that equation of listening is that letting go of control, right? When we're collaborating, when we give ourselves the gift of letting go of control, it's a gift to yourself, it's a gift to everybody that's participating, because then synergistically we come up with something that was better than your own idea, ideally. So I challenge everyone to do that in our daily lives, of not just when we're in whatever we're doing. If we can let go of control enough to let other people's ideas in to inspire us, I think it makes us better people. It breeds ingenuity, it breeds design, and mostly collaboration, which is, I think, what brings new ideas to the table.
Absolutely. Yes. Say yes to yourselves too.
So yeah, thank you so much for having us today. You guys were fantastic, and we're really excited to see you guys tomorrow.
Yes. Thank you so much. Thank you, Dawn. And thank you everybody for coming. Thank you. Thank you.